Hello, people, my dear people. Hey, I noticed one thing about art. I'm witnessing and noticing a trend. It didn't, start yesterday. It didn't start today. It started, some time ago already. The problem here is that, what I witnessed in this whole social media, flood of art, if you want to call it. I mean, the thing is here, like, a lot of people say, well, who are you to judge what's real art and what's not? Sure. I'm not here to judge what's real art and what's not. But as somebody who is a skilled artist, in that, in the category of painters, I'm not as skilled as a sculptor, so I will stick to paintings and drawings, sketches. That I'm actually very, very skilled at. So very good at. Producing high quality work whenever I want to, however I want to, in whatever style I basically choose and technique. I can do that because I have the skill. I have the base. Everything is laid down. I have the foundation that allows me to possess that skill, to allow me to express myself and my visions in a very sophisticated, very skillful way. That's that's how I look at professional art. All right. Now, if you paint something for a hobby and you're not skilled, or you're not required to be skilled, because you don't supply, I would say, beauty and messages to the wider circles of our society, that's fine. Maybe you're not called to do that. That's fine. But you shouldn't be in the circles of, you shouldn't be bunched up with professional artists, professional painters, professional sculptors. But what the social media does, it gives the platform and the opportunity for any self-proclaimed painter and sculptor, anybody that has 5 minutes and has time to go to the art supply store or order, art supplies online, which is, much easier nowadays. Because when I started painting, what was that, like 30 years ago? Probably more than 30 years ago. Now, it was hard. It was really hard. My mom was, I grew up from when I was 10 years old as in a family without a father. There was a tragedy in my family, so my dad was away, was gone forever. Yes, and so my mom could barely afford on one salary to buy me art supplies that were for those times expensive. A lot of the stuff that we can get nowadays cheap, I couldn't get I couldn't get it cheap. There was basically really only one or two, basically two art stores in my entire capital city, you see? And I had to go to the capital city to get those supplies, those, specific for painting, specific for fine art paintings. So I couldn't get that in my local town. So I would get it when I went to school, to my high school. When I started going to my high school in my capital city, that's when I was buying some of those supplies, and they were not cheap, and it was kind of hard to get them. You couldn't just walk in and just grab or get anything your heart wished for. A lot of the tools, a lot of the mediums, a lot of the stuff that exists nowadays on the market, and you can get it shipped to you, or you can go to a bunch of, like, basically any local art supply store. You were not able to get that in those times. A lot of the mediums you had to mix yourself. A lot of some of the paint, just, well, what I'm saying is there was not so much access to all these supplies to be able to just produce any kind of work. Nowadays people experiment, play around, and something cool comes out, and like, wow, oh, I'm a painter. Yeah, not really. I mean, being a painter, being a professional painter takes so much more. So much more. So much more than posting videos on Instagram. So much more than posting videos on Facebook and having your, little circle of people commenting and giving you, I don't know, good comments and support because, they're your friends. They're not going to be like, that's shitty. Even though it in most cases it is. I mean, sorry, hands down, it's shitty. It's crap. It's not art. It's not, there's no quality. It's void of emotion. It's void of skill. It's void of everything that beauty is in reality, because beauty is not coincidental. As much as we think, that this world was created just by some coincidence, it's totally not true. There are patterns and, symbolism in nature that, shows that this world was very much so thought of, and thought over. And the beauty was sought in those creations, and many experiments done until, I'm talking about a natural world. I'm not talking about what humans created afterwards, or, with the lack of awareness of themselves and their own power, and, the sense of beauty and perception of the actual reality of the absolute. I'm not talking about that. A lot of that stuff is ugly architecture, super ugly nowadays. A lot of the stuff that is out there is very, very empty, hollow. There's nothing in it, and it's just boxes on top of boxes full of glass, marble, all sorts of stuff. Expensive material mixed with inexpensive materials, with cheap materials, like disaster compared to old architecture, to actually architecture that made sense, that was also utilized for many different purposes of powering their towns and cities, and just inspiring people, to say, and motivate them, and in the same sense also electrically or electromagnetically protect them, from all sorts of forces in action. So with that being said, social media gives this platform to just anybody who wants to proclaim themselves as this professional painter or artist. Everybody likes to be an artist. I get it. By nature, we are all artists, right? I mean, we got to figure shit out in our lives, how to, go over certain challenges and, daily difficulties, and, we figure things out for the most part of it, and I mean, that's art too. So I'm not denying that people are not artists. I'm not saying, you're here and I'm there, and our world is separate, and you have no idea what I'm doing and I have no idea what you're doing. No, I'm not saying that. But when it comes to professional art, remember that. I mean, a bread maker cannot be a mechanic. All right, because they're not. First of all, they may not be interested in it. The second thing is, if they're dealing with mechanics of, I don't know, cars, vehicles, buses, planes, they may have a hobby, all right? They may be an enthusiast, but that doesn't make them a professional mechanic. It's very, very hard to be professional in more than one field. Very hard. I mean, each of us has at least one talent. I would argue that that's not true, that there's probably more talents inside each one of us, But on a professional level, it's extremely, extremely hard to develop, to perfection, more than one. So all these myths from back then, back in times, that people were able to do all these various fields and were all professional about it, and inventors, and I don't know. Were we there to confirm that? Did we know those people? Or we just heard stories of them? You see, the winners write stories, write history, and they write whatever they want. They have their own characters, they have their own storyline and the timeline and all sorts of stuff, in order to make us now believe, that that's what happened, that was the truth, that was the reality of the times. Now, we don't know, and maybe we never will. However, that ancient memory lives somewhere within us. So if we tap into it, we may figure out what actually happened, and who actually people of the times were, and what they were really capable of. Yeah, so social media. What's happening nowadays, it shows the spirit of our, society, the true spirit, the state of the spirit of this society, how shallow it really is. Because in order to have likes and followers, and I'm not talking here as a sore loser or anything. I don't have many views on my art. It's very, very low. It's in very low numbers. I think none of my stuff gone viral, even though it's extremely quality in many ways. Not maybe each piece that I produce, but in the majority of the cases, that's the case. So I'm not talking about as like a loser, but I'm just noticing the trend that, nowadays as a painter, let's say, it's not enough for you to just paint nice, to just paint quality paintings that express beauty, that express, high level of skill. That's not enough. You have to be in the bunch of producing, very high quality videos, possibly, most likely, they have to be sped up progress of how you create your art, which is absurd. Why on earth would a magician show the trick to its audience and then expect the trick to be so amazing, perceived as something extraordinary, whereas we just found the solution to how everything is being done. I mean, that's sort of like 50% of it, the result, the product of the magic is destroyed just with exposing that. So, and it doesn't make any sense unless our society is so damn bored out of their mind that nothing else does it anymore. The beauty itself doesn't do it anymore. So they need a shock. They need the factor of entertainment. I see nice looking girls. That's also arguable. Nice looking girls have a lot of the times they have more views on their paintings, even though some of those paintings are complete crap, but they have more views than any other professional painter, in many cases men, just because they pose next to paintings. You see, I mean, what kind of stuff is that? I mean, and this is what our society gravitates toward. You see? I'm not gonna offend this girl, her painting is crap, but I mean, she looks nice, give her a like, whatever, I'll follow her page, she looks cool, I'd like to see her more, her. Hello? You wanna see her? Shit. I mean, what's going on here? And these are the people that actually make money, It's not that innocent. When you really look underneath it all, some of these people have enough enough followers to become influencers, and they're accepted by some of the major galleries. The galleries don't accept people because they paint, with high skill and because they paint beauty. They accept it based on how much money they're gonna make. You see what I'm saying? So we're not here to inspire people, to look for beauty. We're not here to inspire people to see the beauty. We're here to generate as much financial benefits as possible. And that nowadays comes from the amount of likes, the amount of followers, so how influential you are in our society. Now, if your art is puke, it doesn't matter that you are influencing the world with your puke, okay? It's ugly. It doesn't, God doesn't like ugly. And I'm not saying that in a religious sense, but just as in, a saying. So you know what I mean, right? So now, what are these people that are, financially so prosperous, what are they really inspiring in our society to look for? For the ugly? To support the low standard of beauty? The very lowest of it? I mean, come on. I mean, this is not the inspiration. Oh man, this is so fascinating. This is such an amazing piece of art. I'm gonna create it. I'm gonna live my life to the fullest. I'm gonna live my life to create something so beautiful. No. If you can shock your audience, it doesn't matter what you paint. It doesn't matter how you paint it. It doesn't matter how ugly it is. And it doesn't matter how stupid it is. As long as you can entertain them and keep their attention with consistently shocking them. That's what this comes down to, all right? Not about beauty. It's not about inspiration. It's not about motivation. Because listen, if you want to be a I don't know, a low-grade artist, self-proclaimed painter, sculptor, you know, showing your puke on social media, but you know, motivate for people to make as much money as possible on, I don't know, Etsy and all sorts of other platforms that are basically cheap and do not allow people to, quality people to really sell their art for the money that they really deserve, then you're not doing anything. You're doing nothing but damage. That's why I'm against it. I'm not against because some people made some, you know, a few $100 here and there. I don't care about it, really. Like, everybody, sure, make your money, you know, be successful, you know, have your friends say, wow, you're an amazing artist, even though you may not be. It doesn't matter to me. What does matter to me is that the inspiration, what you're actually reflecting in the mirror of our society, that shows when you like something like that, when you're not honest with yourself, and you say to somebody, oh yeah, I you know, oh, that's cool, that's nice, and you know it's not, and you know it's puke, just say it. Don't be fake, because this is what's happening. This is the mirror of our society. Our society is so incredibly shallow and bored out of its mind. That's the problem. We're so bored because we lost value. We lost the actual identity of who and what we really are. So we see these low quality creations as something, wow, amazing, this and that. I mean, all sorts of comments that I see underneath those, you know, puke, works of puke. I'm sorry, but it's works of puke. I mean, learn to draw, learn to actually paint. You know, it doesn't matter if it's abstract or modern. I can recognize the skill even behind the modern and abstract work. But don't come up there and puke on canvas. Don't puke on paper. Don't puke and make a sculpture out of it and say, wow, I'm this great artist. You know, I'm compared, you know, to all these great masters. You're not. You're not. You're not even like up to a hill of the level they were at. Not even up to a hill. You're from A to Z, from what they knew and what they, you know, aspired to be and how they motivated and inspired. And to this day, their works inspire masses of people. And you think because you have A out of A to Z, that you dare to grab something and call yourself, to grab something, puke on canvas or paper or whatever media you want to, and call yourself an artist, a painter, a sculptor. Please, guys, start looking for beauty, start looking for quality, demand it, okay? Because that's our identity. That's the identity of human being. It's the quality, it's the perseverance, it's the strength, it's the spirit, okay? The spirit, the integrity, the courage, the self-respect. That's what you should be looking for, and not be satisfied and settle for puke. You're so much more than that. Even you who create this kind of stuff, you're so much more than that. Go ahead, explore, learn stuff, and then create, and then put that out. It's like your work in progress. Your work in progress is not a product. It's progress. Your work is under construction. Under construction, something under construction is not a product. It's not a final product. It's not inspiring anybody. Okay? If you think you inspire somebody, you're lying to yourself, and those who are supporting you and telling you that are lying to you and to themselves. The true inspiration does not come from things in progress, from things being half-made. That's been half-assing your job as an artist. Your job is to be perfect, to be impeccable in your skill, whatever that is, okay? If you want to make puke, make the puke look perfect, impeccable. Make your puke look like none other so far.